Ёбаный в рот. Ёбаный в рот. Бля. Твою мать! Сука, нахуй! Блядь! Ебать! Нахуй, блядь!
Night falls over Ukraine, and the sky turns red once again, not from the sunset, but from fire, explosions, and the roar of incoming missiles. Russia has unleashed its largest airstrike in months, flooding the skies with hypersonic missiles and swarms of suicide drones. What followed was pure chaos, an inferno stretching from Kyiv to Odesa, the sound of war echoing through the cold night air. In a matter of minutes, air raid sirens screamed across Kyiv. The first explosions hit from the north, then wave after wave slammed into the city center. Iskander-M and Kinzhal hypersonic missiles were launched from deep inside Russian territory, piercing through the air defense grid at blistering speed. Each blast shook the ground. Each flash of light meant another building gone. Hundreds of them, coming from every direction, overwhelming radars and filling the night with fire. Kyiv's skyline turned into a modern battlefield. Tracer fire, anti-air missiles, and explosions lighting up the horizon. The main target, Kyiv itself. Missiles and drones struck the Solomiansky and Shevchenkivsky districts. Massive detonations shattered apartment blocks and factories. 1 civilian killed, 10 injured. Streets littered with debris, glass, and flames. Firefighters battled infernos under a rain of falling debris. Witnesses described the night as endless horror. One resident said, "It felt like hell. We didn't know when it would stop." But Kyiv wasn't the only target. In the east, Kharkiv and Dnipro faced relentless missile and glide bomb attacks from Russian Su-34 and Su-35 strike fighters. 5 settlements in Kharkiv Oblast were heavily damaged. Rail depots and ammunition warehouses were destroyed, crucial lifelines for Ukrainian logistics. In Dnipro, a series of Lancet drones struck an ammunition depot, setting off explosions that burned for hours. Communications along the front lines were disrupted. The entire region plunged into darkness and confusion. In the south, the assault continued. Odesa and Zaporizhzhia were pounded by missile barrages. The port city of Odesa, a vital artery for Ukraine's exports, was turned into ruins when Kaliber cruise missiles hit fuel storage facilities. Fires spread across the docks, black smoke filled the air, and witnesses described the scene as a burning coastline. In Zaporizhzhia, Iskander-M missiles leveled a major industrial site suspected of repairing Ukrainian armored vehicles. The blast was so massive it could be heard 40 miles away. Power grids collapsed, leaving thousands without electricity. The south of Ukraine was once again plunged into chaos. Why now? Analysts from the Institute for the Study of War point to 3 main objectives. First, to push Ukraine's air defenses to their limit, forcing them to waste expensive interceptor missiles on cheap drones. Second, to cripple Ukraine's power infrastructure ahead of winter, freezing the population into submission. And third, to send a political message to the West. Russia's air power still stands, and it's far from finished. On the ground, Ukraine's air defense crews fought relentlessly. Patriot, NASAMS, and IRIST systems launched wave after wave of interceptors, but there were simply too many targets. While Ukraine claimed to shoot down nearly 80% of incoming drones, the remaining 20% were enough to cause catastrophic damage. Russia has begun using advanced electronic warfare, jamming radars and confusing guidance systems. The new generation of Shahed drones now carry anti-jamming, GLONASS modules, and even thermal decoys to fool heat-seeking missiles. The sky is no longer just a battleground. It's a war of technology, deception, and endurance. The human cost is devastating. Thousands have lost their homes. Entire neighborhoods are without power. Hospitals run on backup generators. Water and supplies are scarce. In Kyiv, schools are closed again. Public transport suspended. Every night, millions hide in basements, waiting, listening, wondering if the next drone sound means life or death. President Zelensky called it energy terrorism. He appealed once more for advanced air defenses from Western allies. More Patriots, more NASAMS, more ammunition. Meanwhile, Moscow justified the attacks as retaliation for Ukrainian strikes inside Russian territory. The world watches, divided, but the bombs keep falling. These latest strikes prove one undeniable truth. This war is far from over. Russia still holds the skies. Ukraine still refuses to break. Every night, the air becomes a theater of war, where speed meets courage, where drones duel with missiles, and where survival depends on who blinks first. From Kyiv to Kharkiv, from Dnipro to Odesa, the echo of explosions still rolls across the land. Smoke rises, sirens wail, and the question remains: how long can Ukraine endure the fire raining from above? This is not just a ground war. It's a war for the skies, a brutal contest of power, precision, and will. And every night, the world watches as missiles and drones turn the heavens over Ukraine into a burning hell.